Welcome to Realfire videos. In this video, we're going to walk through the DML, the data loader, the SQL delete type of data loads. So you can access the data load tab. By the way, the SQL delete and the SQL update and the DML executions, they're available in the Realfire Enterprise. So if you have the Essential or a Professional edition, unfortunately you cannot use this feature. But if you have Enterprise, I hope you enjoyed this, the additional feature. So to access that, select the new, go to the data loads, and if you don't see this particular the view, you can go to the window and you can click on the data loads, and it will come up with this particular view. You can right click on that and click on new, so it comes to new data load creation window. So here you can specify whatever the name that's appropriate for your type of change, and go ahead and choose the data SQL the delete as the type of the data load type. And because it's SQL type of an update, it just needs a one Salesforce connection. So you're going to choose whichever the Salesforce connection that you want to execute this in, and here you can specify the delete statement. So if this particular space is not sufficient for you to view, you can resize the dialog so that you get a bigger space, or you can also resize the here so that you don't have to. Let me see if I can get this right. Yeah, so you can drag this particular drag handle to get more space for the upper side of the part. So here you can issue any DML, you can write any delete statement applicable, the valid delete statement. So the syntax of the delete statement is documented here. So you can, if you go to the data loader from the documentation, so if you scroll down, you will see a delete statement. So the syntax of the delete statement is like this. So delete from object name and the various classes that you can specify, and anything within the square bracket is an optional, so that only thing you really need is actually delete keyword, the from keyword, and the object name from which you want to delete. So this is SQL similar syntax with the classes that are applicable for Salesforce, and of course the additional keyword called hard. It means that removes from the recycle bin. That's an enhancement which is not available in the Salesforce or in the other SQLs. Okay, here are some examples delete statements. Delete from account where created date is equals to today, or delete hard from account where created date is equals to today, or if you delete from account where billing street is equals to null, or you can specify any where condition that you want, or any where condition that SQL supports. And of course you can specify order by clause so that it fetches the records and delete it in that particular order for whatever reason, if you want to do that, or if you want to limit the number of records deleted in one execution to a particular number of records. Let's say you're trying to experiment that you want to just issue the limit one, so it just deletes one record. You can do that, or if you have an offset where you want to start the delete statement from particular offset location, you can specify that as well. Okay, so when you come here, you can specify the delete statement. Let's say delete from so this is one of the objects that we use for testing the data load. So, and you can specify this is a minimum delete statement that you can say it will delete all the records from this particular object. So the behind the scene, when you say go ahead and create and run, the Realfire, the data loader would take the delete statement, it'll parse it, the using the standard, the lexer and the tokenizer and all that, and it'll construct the SOCL statement that we use to issue to Salesforce to fetch the list of records, and then use those records back and call the Salesforce API, which were the API that you choose. Use that API to delete those records and record and save all the status of the delete statements into a particular file so that you can see. So if you wanna just validate, you can click on validate SQL. It will validate. For example, let's say you did a wrong here. When you click on validate, it's gonna show what error it is so that you can correct it. When you click on create by for example, it'll actually validate. So if you have a wrong SQL statement, it will not let you save. So you can also see the generated SOCL that we will issue to Salesforce. In this case, we just gonna select ID from the DL test because there is no other predicate. You can also click on view impacted record count. So it will show how many records would get impacted if this delete statement is executed against the Salesforce. So this is actual the records that will get deleted at that point in time. So the records that would be deleted if the source data doesn't change and if this SQL is executed. But if there are any new records that have been added by the time you start execution, and if they are covered as part of the predicate, applicable predicate, and they will be deleted too, or if there are other records which are deleted before they started, then it's going to delete less number of records. But whatever that approximately, that's a number of records that you can expect it to be deleted. So this basically is there to get a fair idea, what is the impact. Or you can go and specify the predicate, and you can make sure that the predicate is there. Here, for example, we add the where condition, and then you can say view impacted record counts because all the records are created earlier, so it's gonna be 0. But you can say last 10 days 5. Let's see. Okay, so now that's don't think it is there. Okay, so let's say create a date. If you specify different conditions, less than today, so that shows. Okay, so or you can just limit if you don't have anything, you can say limit um, 1, so it should delete 1 record. Okay, I can see the SQL, it'll add that particular limit. If you say 0, then obviously it's not gonna delete anything. It's gonna say 0 records. If you just wanna run through without specifying anything. Okay. So let's limit 1 record and let's go ahead and execute at this time. And let's say create and run this data load. Okay, so because this data load connection is marked as read only, so we cannot run. So this is a kind of a security feature. Let's say you have stage and dev and the prod connection, they're all in the same Realforce instance, and it can be easier sometimes, choose a different connection and execute these destructive kind of commands, to delete. So to make sure that you can safeguard against them, you can go and you can enable as a read only on that connection. So if you try to do any DML or data load type of operations on that connection, it will say that it is in a read only mode. But if you are sure to go and execute, you can disable the read only and then you can go and run that. So let's go and run this particular statement. um, it's completed. So it processed total 1 records, it processed all of them, and successful 1. So you can right click on, you can see various files, for example the status files that indicate the ID of that and status of the deleted. Okay, so this is the delete statement. So as mentioned here in the documentation, you can specify hard that will delete the records from recycle bin after deleting from the object store. So here you can say delete hard from DL test limit 1, and you can save and run. So it should delete that particular record, not save into the recycle bin. So that can be very handy if you're trying to delete, kind of a log records that you don't care to be in the recycle bin. You can use that particular one. So this is about the SQL delete the data load. Please let us know how you like this feature, and if you have any suggestions on how this can be improved further. Thank you.